Alright, so we're going to be doing some spirit board targets, I guess is what they were called, just for the hell of it. Figured it fit with the topic I wanted to discuss, being spirits themselves. I did sort of want to do the beginning of World of Light initially. I thought that you got all the DLC characters from the start alongside Kirby. Turns out that's not necessarily the case. I don't know when you specifically get them. Maybe it's, I think Mario's the first character you recruit, so maybe it's after you get Mario. I think it would have been kind of cool and interesting if maybe in a random or set or even chosen order that maybe based on how far you are in World of Light or how many other characters you've recruited, if they were able to divvy up the DLC characters like that, like after completing a certain percentage, or oh yeah, I thought that was on my end, but I think that was a relatively weaker spirit. I'm not even bothering with this. I have all the spirits anyway. A relatively weaker spirit comparatively to the build I'm just using, but we'll try the legend spirit. I don't know how well set up I am for it, but after a certain percentage or after a certain number of recruits, I think that would have been an interesting way to sort of implement them without them just sort of giving you them all at once. Did it wind up being that easy? But yeah, I've been thinking about spirits again, just in general. I wanted to talk more about them here. So here I am. Something that sort of intrigued me, I guess, with spirits is, and I've seen this topic come up. I mean, obviously, that was I pulled that out of my ass, but obviously everyone was here. That was the big thing, and I've seen a lot of people bring up, how close we were to everything is here. How there's only a couple stages missing, a handful of songs missing, only a few items and assist trophies. I think there's a few more Pokemon because that was a bit more of a rotating cast, and I could certainly understand it. I guess for something like Pokemon and assist trophies because you got 3D models and animations and certain with the stages too, and just certain expectations, I guess, of the standard you set through base game. Even with items, I guess you could also make the argument, but I feel like the whole everyone is here thing sort of is against that argument of, well, this item isn't that popular. I mean, maybe there's balancing stuff too that they don't want to bother with either for something not as big as a fighter. But I mean, they particularly mentioned everyone was here partially because they sort of realized through the Smash ballot how certain characters you wouldn't expect were popular almost partially probably because they were in a previous Smash game. So you would almost think that there would be a similar sentiment they would acknowledge with just sort of everything else. And I guess it sort of hits a little deeper for me for spirits just because, I mean, I know nothing, but they seem like a relatively easy thing to implement, especially after you get that initial wave done. I mean, obviously, there's a little more work into spirit battles, but they could have even just put them in a shop. They could have. What else was I going to say? They could have, there was repeating spirits. So you could have given it a pre existing, ability and power in that. And I guess in some cases, like I was sort of thinking about, trophies that didn't come back, and I guess stickers too. I don't know how many there were there. Because actually, if you look, surprisingly, Smash 4, if you add up the total number of trophies between Wii U and 3DS, and granted there is some overlay, the total number is actually higher than spirits that were in launch and ultimate. And not for anything, not to sound unappreciative, obviously, in this whole discussion, but I don't know, when you saw this, what they were going with the spirits, and that, I don't know, I guess you just wouldn't expect that to be a thing with how all out they were seeming to go with it, and that, and how relatively similar, or simpler, I should say, to trophies that spirits were getting so that they could implement as much as possible. Like a lot of rare Pokemon ones coming up. And just sort of landing around the rare ones. Or I'm picking the rare ones to fight. And it's like, sure, there could be some other circumstances, like I said, similar to trophies and stuff, where it's probably not worth it if there's issues with, the artist, or if it's third party. But I feel like there's cases where that wouldn't be the case. Like an example I thought of was, I'm pretty sure Brawl had trophies for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess that didn't get spirits. Like, specifically, I'm pretty sure that, I don't remember their names, but there were there was a there were some major Zora slash Goron character, the main one he dealt with in the story of Twilight Princess, that had trophies in. Sorry, I'm trying to focus on the on two things at once here. It's something I'm gonna have to get used to a bit more. I should just screw it. If I lose, but you have, these trophies that just didn't get a spirit in ultimate, and it's kind of like, you have Zant, I think Agatha had a spirit, probably some other characters in that too. So you have to kind of wonder why. You wouldn't think, if there's other characters from the same game that's, first party, that there would really be any issues, that the game probably would have had similar artist and copyright stuff with concept art and the PNGs that they were using for spirits. And even if that was an issue, like another case I thought of was Doshin the Giant, who has been in a Smash game since Melee. What if they, for Doshin, oh yeah, because I didn't realize they had a reflector. But for Doshin, focusing too much on this again, they took a screenshot of the trophy from Melee, because would Smash technically own the trophy and like the model from that, maybe? Like I said, I don't really know what I'm talking about. This is just speculation, sort of curiosity on my side, because it is an interesting topic to me. If they own that, could they technically just take a screenshot of it, maybe edit it, cut out the trophy base and have that as a spirit in here? I think they had some 3D models as spirits, right? So, I don't know. It sort of makes you scratch your chin, like, not really sure why for something that would seem just relatively easy and simple, even if it's after launch, And even after that, you have things such as, for spirits, like, part of me doesn't get why they didn't maybe go an extra mile with it, even. Like, once again, what we got was fine, but they like to put a lot of detail into stuff in Smash. And even if you're recycling assets, I mean, it would have been kind of cool if, for past trophies, if they, I guess there could be issues with translation and, the different times in that. And I guess context might kind of be lost, but what if they added the description from previous Smash games, or even the past trophies? I guess you also have to worry about data in general. like if that would have went over a certain size for the game that they were looking to hit. But if you didn't want to do that, what about the 3D models that already exist in the game? A lot of games have model viewers. Why not have that for, all the fighters and all the assist trophies, stage hazards, and that sort of thing? I don't know. It's just kind of crazy because initially it sort of seemed like this was at another level, but then you sort of realize when you look back that, you know, Wii U alone, let alone adding what we had on 3DS, was closer than you thought. And even Brawl, if you combine the number of trophies and stickers together, you get over 1,000, which is only 400 less than Total Spirits. So, I don't know. Just some interesting things that sort of puzzled me. Like I said, I've kind of thought about it before, but I was thinking about it again. Part of the reason I was thinking about it again, actually, was because I actually had a whole other different concept for this video. I was going to talk about something else. I was going to showcase particularly a tool that I believe I have a note here about it. It was made by Togen and posted to Game Banana by Hinata, about making your own spirit battles and stuff. And I thought it was a really cool tool. And I thought it would have been cool to sort of showcase what it's capable of, how to use it, and just have a little fun with that. I hadn't really seen anyone do that. But then I saw that video by Point Crow about Nintendo particularly targeting modded content recently. Granted, I think it was a little more on the Breath of the Wild side with Tears of a Kingdom coming up. Of the Kingdom. So, I decided not to. It's just not really worth it. Potentially having a headache and putting this, outlet to express myself that I've enjoyed in any sort of unnecessary danger. But yeah, the tools are out there and I recommend them. Like I said, though, it is a little puzzling the way they target stuff because, I get some modded Smash content posts that still recommended in my feed, and that there's a lot of cool things you can do. And I don't know. I really wish Nintendo was more open to it. As does everyone, I'm sure. Especially, too, for something like Smash, where the game hasn't been supported in over a year. Smash is always something I come back to, but I don't think I would be coming back to it as long, and there's other games, too, that I don't know if I would have even came back to at all if it weren't for, certain ways the community has, supported the game and added, cool new things, whether, oh yikes, there's a floor effect that I got to avoid. Whether it be, cool, new skins or ways to play and that sort of thing, I know the cultural thing there, but I don't know. And yeah, obviously they have every right to, do what they're doing, but I know this has all been said before, but I don't know. Figured since it affected me a little, I guess this time too, I would vent about it. I think I'll do one more. I really don't have that much more to say, other than, it's a fun thing to get into. Obviously, know what you're doing so you don't accidentally brick your system or get yourself banned, and do it the right way. Don't, pirate your games and whatnot, but it's nice to be able to keep games you like that you've already, experienced most, if not everything it has to offer, alive and interact with, just other people who are really passionate about the same game too.